Capricorn, pause with me for a moment. Take one breath and really feel it, because something has been moving around you lately. A quiet shift, a vibration in your chest, a sense that the universe is trying to reach you and you can't quite name why. And today, as I tuned into your energy, the air around me changed. It felt heavier, sharper, almost as if destiny itself leaned in and whispered, "Tell Capricorn the truth. They're ready." What I'm about to share is not a prediction. It's a turning point, a moment connected to a hospital, to tears you were never prepared to cry, and to a revelation that will break something inside you, only so it can save you in the most profound way. Before we go deeper, type this in the comments to open the path ahead. I received the clarity meant for me, because what comes next is the part of your story no one warned you about, but your soul has been waiting for. Let's begin. Capricorn, come a little closer for a moment. I want you to breathe the way you do when you're finally honest with yourself. Slow, unhurried, like you're letting your shoulders settle after carrying too much for too long. You've felt something circling you these past days. Not fear, not exactly. More like that quiet tremor in the chest you get right before life changes direction. A small shift in the air that no one else seems to notice, yet your body does. Your spirit does. It's the kind of feeling that makes you pause mid-step, wondering why your heart suddenly whispers, "Pay attention." And I know you've been trying to brush it off. Capricorn always does. You're practical, steady, built to endure. But even the strongest mountain hears the wind before the storm arrives. There is something about this moment in your life that carries weight. A message, a warning, a blessing hidden in a shape you don't quite trust yet. And the strange part is, a part of you has known this was coming. You've felt it in the way your sleep shifted, in the way silence has been louder than usual, in the way your thoughts keep looping back to the same place, to the same worry, to the same what if. And yes, it is connected to the body, to health, to someone's breath. Yours, or someone close enough that your heart would ache if their voice shook. I'm not here to scare you. You and I both know you don't respond to fear anyway. What moves you is truth spoken gently, truth offered with a steady hand. So, hear me when I say this. Something will take you into a hospital soon. A hallway that smells of disinfectant and cold air. A chair where you'll sit a little too still. A moment where your throat tightens before your mind can catch up. And you will cry. You will. Not because your world ends, but because something inside you finally reaches its limit. Tears that aren't weakness, but release. Years of holding it together, softening all at once. Capricorn, do you know what happens when a person strong for too long finally lets go, even for a second? The body tells the truth the mind has been hiding, and that truth is, you've been carrying more than anyone realizes, more than you let yourself admit in the quiet. But here's the part you don't see yet. What waits for you in that cold, bright place isn't destruction. It isn't loss. It's a doorway. A strange, unexpected doorway that opens only when a heart cracks at just the right angle. And when you step through it, you won't walk out the same person who walked in. Something will realign. Something will make sense in a way that has eluded you for months, maybe years, as if the universe has been waiting for this exact moment to place its hand on your back and guide you toward the one truth you can no longer postpone. Stay with me. Let this be the breath before the revelation, because the story that unfolds from here is the one your soul has been aching to hear. Capricorn, you know that moment when something small catches your attention, something so subtle you almost convince yourself you imagined it. A shift in the body, a flicker of worry that moves too quickly to hold. That is where this begins. It is strange, isn't it, how the body whispers long before the mind understands. A tiredness that feels heavier than usual, a breath that doesn't land the way it should. Or maybe it is not even about you, but about someone whose heartbeat your soul has memorized. Someone you would cross any distance for, even the cold hallway of a hospital you were trying so hard to avoid. And I know how you are. You tell yourself it is nothing. You keep going. You stay steady because that is what everyone expects of you. But this time, something in you hesitated. Your hand paused, your chest tightened. and the thought that you've been trying to swallow for days finally rose to the surface. What if this is serious? Even saying those words inside your own mind felt like stepping onto ice you hoped would not crack. Capricorn, you are brave. But even the brave feel the tremor of uncertainty when life shifts in a direction they did not choose. Yet here is the quiet truth the universe has been placing in your path. This thing that is sending you to the hospital is not the disaster your fear painted in the dark. Fear always paints in shadows. Life rarely does. What waits for you there is not an ending, but a moment of clarity. A moment that arrives the way dawn does, soft, then undeniable. And you will feel it, not as a collapse, but as something inside you finally loosening. A knot you have carried in silence beginning to unwind. There is something strangely comforting about places we dread. How the worst of our imagination never quite matches reality. How what truly meets us is often far gentler than the stories we told ourselves at 3 a.m. The truth waiting for you is not meant to break you. It is meant to guide you back to yourself in a way you have not allowed in a long, long time. Because somewhere beneath your strength, beneath your routines, beneath the image of the one who always keeps it together, there is a part of you longing to be seen, to be held, to be reminded that you are human too. And this moment, this unexpected visit, is life's way of placing a hand on your shoulder and saying you do not have to carry everything alone. You may not trust that yet, but you will. And as you take that first step into the sterile light of that hallway, you'll notice something, a softness in the air, as if the universe is drawing in a breath with you, as if it already knows that what you discover there will become the beginning of something you didn't know you needed. And that beginning is closer than you think. Capricorn. There is a moment every strong person eventually meets, a moment when the world around them keeps moving, but something inside stops, goes quiet, like the universe holds its breath for you. That moment is coming for you, not to punish you, not to frighten you, but to bring you back to a truth you have avoided in the name of being strong. You may hear a few words from a doctor, see a number on a chart, catch the shape of something on a screen, and it will feel as if the room tilts, as if the light flickers for just a second, as if all the noise you've learned to ignore suddenly disappears. People think breaking is loud, but for you, it won't be. It will happen in silence, a stillness so deep you can hear your own heartbeat and realize how long it has been since you actually listened to it. Your tears will come quickly, not because something is ending, but because something in you has finally hit the limit of how much it can carry without being acknowledged. They will fall the way rain falls after weeks of holding itself in, heavy, necessary, honest. And Capricorn, there is no shame in that. You have been the steady ground for so many, the voice of reason, the backbone, the one who keeps walking even when the path is cracked beneath your feet. But even mountains erode when no one notices the weather pressing against them day after day. This moment, this break, is life's way of helping you remember that your strength was never meant to be silent. It was never meant to be invisible. It was meant to breathe, to bend, to be held when it trembles. As those tears fall, you may feel a strange relief. A release so deep it almost frightens you. Because for the first time in a long time, you are not fighting yourself. You are not forcing your heart back into the corner where you normally keep your fear. You are letting something real move through you. And in that softness, there is a truth that rises like light, slowly filling a dark room. You have been carrying far more than anyone knows, and for far longer than your spirit was designed to endure alone. You may ask yourself, why now? Why this moment? Why here, of all places? But sometimes the places we fear most become the places where the truth finally reaches us. And once it does, your heart cannot go back to pretending it doesn't know what it knows. There is a turning happening within you, quiet but undeniable. A shift from endurance to awareness, from holding it all in to allowing yourself to finally be met with compassion. And as strange as it sounds, this breaking point is the very path that leads you back to your own healing. Not because someone fixes you, but because you stop running from the part of you that needs care. Let yourself breathe here. Let yourself feel what rises. Because in this stillness, something new is beginning to form. Something that has been waiting for the moment you finally stop holding everything together and allow yourself to be human again. And when that happens, life quietly opens a door you didn't see before. Capricorn, there is someone you are meant to meet in this moment of unraveling. Someone who steps into your story the way a soft light enters a dark room. Quiet, unforced, almost as if they were guided to you by something larger than circumstance. It may happen in the hospital, or maybe just outside its doors when your breath is still unsteady and you are trying to make sense of what just shifted inside you. You will feel their presence before you register their face. That calm, that steadiness. The kind of energy that doesn't rush toward you, but simply stands near you, letting you know you don't have to face this moment alone. And you'll sense it, Capricorn, a recognition you can't quite explain. Like your soul exhales because it knows help has arrived. Not the kind of help that fixes everything, but the kind that reminds you you're still human and still allowed to be held by the world. Maybe it's a medical professional whose voice carries a strange mix of clarity and warmth. Someone who speaks with the sort of confidence that makes your pulse slow down. Maybe it's a woman in your family, someone who has lived long enough to understand the things you have never said out loud. Or maybe it's a person from your past, someone you thought life had already taken away, drifting back into your orbit at the exact moment your heart needs an anchor. Whoever they are, they come with a wisdom that does not try to overpower your fear, but sits gently beside it. And in the middle of your uncertainty, in that place where the mind trembles and the breath falters, they will say one thing, just one. A sentence so simple you might not grasp its weight at first, but it lands in you, deep, true, undeniable. It might be a reminder, or a truth you've pushed aside, or a permission you didn't know you were waiting for. The kind of words that touch the part of you that has been tired for too long. The part that pretends it isn't scared, the part that believes it must carry everything without ever letting anyone see the strain. And when those words sink in, you will feel something shift. Not a dramatic explosion, but a quiet turning of the heart, as if someone reached into your chest and gently set one of your burdens down. You may find yourself wondering how this person knew what to say, how they understood the ache behind your silence. But sometimes life sends us a presence, not to solve the moment, but to help us walk through it without collapsing under the weight. And as you stand there, with their words settling into you like warm light spreading through cold air, you'll realize something you hadn't let yourself admit. You are not meant to navigate this chapter alone. You never were. There is a path forming beneath your feet now, soft at first, steadying as you breathe into it. A path that begins not with certainty, but with the quiet comfort of knowing you are being guided. And that guidance is already beginning to change you. Capricorn, there are moments in life when you start searching for answers on the surface, only to realize the truth has been living much deeper, quietly woven through the history of the people who came before you. You might think you were simply looking into a health concern, following a thread of worry because something felt off, but the thread pulls back harder than you expect. It leads you into places inside your family story that no one has dared to open for a very long time, and it happens softly at first. A comment someone makes, a hesitation in their voice when you ask a simple question, the way their eyes drift for a second too long, as if they are remembering something they were taught never to say aloud. You know that feeling, don't you? When silence holds more truth than words ever could, you can almost hear the weight of it, like the air thickens around you for a moment, letting you know you're stepping onto sacred ground. Every family carries a secret or two, but yours carries one that touches the veins of your existence. Something about health. Something about a moment long ago when fear or shame or love made someone bury the truth because they thought silence was safer than honesty. And now, without even meaning to, you've brushed against the edge of that memory. You felt it the way you feel a cold draft slipping under a closed door. Subtle, but undeniable. Capricorn, you have always been the one who senses what others pretend not to notice. You read the patterns, you feel the breaks in the foundation. You can tell when something in the story does not align. And when this truth finally rises, when it steps out of the shadows and shows itself, it may sting. Not because it hurts you directly, but because it makes you realize how many people live their lives afraid of their own truth. How many held their breath instead of asking for help. How many carried burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. You may feel anger for a moment, or grief, or confusion. That is human. That is love, trying to understand why the people before you chose silence instead of safety. But somewhere in that ache, you will feel something else rising, a sense of recognition, a knowing that this secret did not come to you by accident. It came because you are the one strong enough to stop the pattern from repeating. You are the one who can say this ends here, this fear, this silence, this uncertainty passed down like an heirloom. You are the one who brings light into a place that has been dim for too long. And as the truth settles in you, as it finds a home in your understanding instead of your fear, you will notice a strange calm moving through your body, a feeling almost like alignment, almost like clarity, as if a door behind you has finally closed, so another one can open ahead. Capricorn, there is something I need you to hear with a quiet mind, not because it is frightening, but because it is sacred. In the moments when everything feels too heavy and your chest tightens the way it does when fear sits too close, you are not as alone as you think. Even when the room is empty, even when no one answers their phone, even when your thoughts start to spiral and you wonder how much more you are supposed to carry, there is a presence around you, soft, steady, familiar in a way that your heart recognizes long before your mind catches up. It comes in the form of a scent you cannot explain, a warmth that brushes your shoulder when no one is near, a song from another time, playing at the exact second your spirit begins to wobble. It comes in the repetition of a number that follows you from clock to receipt to streetlight, as if someone is tapping your shoulder, saying, "Look again, you are being guided." Capricorn, there is someone on the other side, someone who loved you in a way that left an imprint on your very being, and that person has not stepped away from you. Not now. Not when you need grounding the most. They linger in the quiet hours in the boundary between exhaustion and sleep, when the veil thins and the soul remembers what the mind forgets. They come to you in dreams that feel too vivid to be imaginary dreams, where the air feels warmer, the colors brighter, the emotions sharper, as if your heart is being held in a place that does not obey the rules of this world. And maybe you wake up wondering why it felt so real. Why their face looked exactly the way you remember. Why their voice carried the same tenderness it did before they left this life. But the truth is simple. They are trying to reach you because you have been walking through a season that no one else sees clearly, but they do. They have watched you hold everything together. They have seen the moments where you broke but hid it well. They know the fear that you swallow before anyone notices. And they refuse to let you walk through this threshold alone. So they show up in the ways they can. Ways that do not frighten you, but reassure you the way a hand on your back would. The way a voice saying it is going to be all right would. And every sign they send, every whisper that slips into your awareness is their way of telling you, keep going. You are stronger than you feel, and not a single step of this journey is being taken without protection. You may think you imagined it, but ask yourself, why did it come exactly when your heart was trembling? Exactly when your breath was unsteady? Exactly when you needed a reason not to fall apart? Some things are too perfectly timed to be a coincidence. Some love continues long after the body is gone. And as you let that truth settle in your chest, feel how the fear loosens its grip just enough for something gentler to take its place. Something that quietly leads you toward what is waiting next, already unfolding, already moving, as if the universe and this unseen presence have been preparing the path together. Capricorn, there is a moment in every long night when the darkness begins to thin, so quietly that you might miss it if you're not paying attention. And that is what these coming days feel like for you. Not a sudden miracle, not a grand revelation, but a soft, steady turning, as if life itself has decided to shift the weight that has been pressing on your chest. You may not see it right away. Most beginnings don't look like beginnings at first. They look like small improvements, like waking up with a little more breath than yesterday, like noticing your body respond to rest instead of resisting it. They look like clarity coming to you in pieces, like a fog slowly lifting from the corners of your mind. This new energy that is gathering around you is not fragile. It is patient. It is firm in the way only true healing can be. And over these next weeks, you'll feel the ground beneath you start to settle again, slowly rebuilding the parts of you that were shaken. Your health, it begins to find its rhythm, a rhythm that feels more natural, more yours, as if your body is remembering what balance feels like and pulling you back toward it inch by inch. And something else happens too. Opportunities you thought had passed you by begin to circle back. Doors you assumed were closed shift open just enough for you to reach the handle, not by force, not by urgency, but by timing, the kind of timing that only arrives when the universe waits for you to be strong enough to receive again. A connection resurfaces someone whose presence steadies you in a way you did not expect. Or perhaps it's someone new, someone who speaks to the part of you that has been silent for years. Whoever they are, they bring light into a place inside you that you thought had dimmed for good. It won't feel like rescue. It will feel like recognition. And your mind, your beautiful, disciplined, overworked mind, begins to soften, begins to see beyond fear, begins to understand that not every ending is loss and not every disruption is danger. Sometimes the world shakes you only to put pieces back in a truer order, one that aligns with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. 48 days is not long, but it is long enough for a life to shift direction, for a heart to heal in ways it never planned, for a future to quietly rewrite itself just beyond the horizon of what you can see today. And as this turning gathers strength, you will find yourself rising, not the way people rise in stories, but the way real people do, slowly, honestly, with a kind of resilience that grows from surviving what once felt impossible. You are stepping into a chapter built not from what broke you, but from what refused to let you stay broken. And the path you're walking now is already beginning to glow beneath your feet, as if it has been waiting for you all along. Capricorn, there comes a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes trembling, when everything you have just walked through begins to make sense in a way it never could while you were still inside the storm. It is the moment when you look back at that hospital hallway, the cold air, the weight in your chest, the silence that broke you open, and instead of fear, you feel understanding, a softness, a kind of reverence for the version of you who made it through without even realizing how close they were to losing themselves. And maybe that is the real turning point. That realization that what felt like a punishment was never meant to hurt you. It was meant to bring you back to your body, back to your truth, back to the parts of your soul that had gone quiet from carrying too much alone. You start to notice how different your breath feels now, how your body responds with more ease, as if it finally trusts that you were listening to it. Your health steadies not just because something was treated, but because something inside you shifted toward awareness, toward gentleness, toward choosing yourself in ways you used to postpone. And the truth you discovered, the one that shook your understanding of your family, begins to settle like new roots, deep, strong, honest. You begin to see your lineage with clearer eyes, not as a chain to inherit, but as a story you now have the power to rewrite. What was hidden does not control you anymore. It informs you, it empowers you, it frees you. And the people around you, the ones who stayed, the ones who showed up without you asking, even the ones you never expected to return, their presence feels different now, more intentional, more aligned. You open to them in a way you could not before because your heart has survived something real, and in that survival, it learned how to stay open without fear of shattering. There is a strength in you now, not the kind that keeps going at all costs, but the kind that knows when to rest, when to reach out, when to release the weight that was never yours to hold. It is a quiet strength, but it moves through your life like a warm current, subtle, steady, undeniable. And as you step back into your days, you begin to see light in places that once felt dim. Small joys return, thoughts clear. Your sense of direction sharpens as if life has been rearranged not to test you, but to finally support you. Capricorn, you didn't just survive this chapter. You emerge from it becoming someone who understands that being saved does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a single moment of truth, a single tear that releases what years of silence could not, a single breath that decides I am choosing to live differently now. And that choice, that quiet decision held inside your chest, is what turns the rest of your story into something brighter than anything behind you. Because now you walk forward not broken, not burdened, but rebuilt from the inside out. Capricorn, if you're still here with me, take a breath. Let it settle into your chest. Let it remind you of everything you've reclaimed tonight. Because after everything you've walked through, the fear, the silence, the moment that broke you open in that cold hospital room, you did something extraordinary. You didn't collapse. You didn't run. You rose. Even if it was slow, even if your hands were shaking, you rose. And maybe that is the quiet miracle no one sees but you. You learned that endings can save you. That truth, even when it stings, can set the entire future back into alignment. That healing doesn't always look like triumph. Sometimes it looks like finally letting go of the weight you were never meant to carry alone. And here you are, standing in the soft light of a new chapter, stronger, clearer, more you than you have been in years. So, before you go, I want you to anchor this moment in your heart. If anything in this message touched something real inside you, leave a comment with the words, "I trust my path." Let the universe hear you. Let your future self hear you. Let this entire Capricorn community rise with you. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe so you never miss the messages that are meant to find you right when you need them the most. Because this is not the end of your story, not even close. There is another chapter forming just beyond the horizon, and I can already feel the pull of it. A shift, a revelation, a doorway that only you can walk through. When the next message arrives, Capricorn, you will understand why everything had to unfold exactly the way it did. Until then, take care of that heart of yours. You've earned its softness, you've earned its peace. And remember, you were never broken. You were becoming. The journey continues. I'll meet you in the next one.